I listened to the show yesterday. Great job in the afternoon with your tributes to Willie Mays. Some great stories there. I was kind of surprised, and you even said this, that this wasn't a bigger deal with other shows, other networks. Why do you think that is, Chris?
Yeah, Danny, I was a little surprised because I think in a lot of ways you and I are the two who do more baseball than anybody else. You love baseball. You know, you and I are about the same age. You might be a little older, Dan, but we do love the baseball. We do talk. You and I love to talk. You know, we follow it and everything else. So I was a little surprised that it didn't get more. Now, it got a lot of attention today. New York Times had a big obit on it. You know, it's right up my alley, as you know, because, I'm a Giant fan anyway. They got this Rick Wood game tonight, but I was a little surprised. I know none of our guys did it at our show. I mean, they're younger hosts.
Yeah.
They're not going to go out there and they're going to break. They didn't see Willie play, so from that standpoint, and I know I have a child, 22 years old, who just got a job in West Palm Beach, ESPN West Palm, and he's not on the air yet. He's in Europe. And I told myself, geez, if he was on the air tomorrow and Willie died, then he wouldn't know what to say.
Yep.
Gee, I've heard of him, but so I just think it's probably an age thing. I think you and I are probably the only ones, radio-wise, nationally, who could do it and do it properly. If you're going to do it, you got to do it properly. And you and I can do that. And so I figured, what the hell? And I would do it anyway, but it's a Wednesday. The NBA season's over. Nobody's going to call me on the Yankees or Orioles. The NHL, there's a couple of days off. They're not going to go crazy on Edmonton. And no matter how good McDavid is with Florida, it's a perfect time to do it. And if you can get the right guys, they're going to add something to it. So there you go. I think probably the age. I
think having seen these players, that really helps, because when Jerry West died, having first seen him in person when I was 12 years of age, getting his autograph in Cincinnati.
Wow.
I went to Cincinnati Royals versus the Lakers, and I just remember my dad told me that's how you play basketball. But my dad took me to a spring training game in Arizona in Scottsdale to see Willie Mays and the Giants, and he said, watch him, because nobody plays baseball like him. So I had, my dad gave me a good heads up to follow certain players, and I didn't realize it at the time until then you have that kind of epiphany and you go, oh, okay. And Willie Mays was different than anybody who'd ever played the game.
And I think there's a lot of similarities there. Fundamentally, the way they played it between West and Willie. I do think there's a lot of it, but Willie had so much flair, effervescence. My father was a DiMaggio fan, and he's a Yankee fan. So I didn't get that, grow up with the Giants and grew up with the Yankees. Yeah. So he probably didn't appreciate Mays as much as he probably should have. And Mike Francesa, my old radio partner, loved Mantle. So he probably didn't appreciate Mays as much as he should have. I remember, Dan, I became a huge Giant fan in the late 60s, 68, and Mays was not Mays. He was 37 years old. So I did not see Mays necessarily in his prime. I did see McCovey, who I loved, and I love Bobby Bonds. But Mays is the reason why I was a Giant fan. And I've read everything in the last 3 days. I've read the 2 books on him. We've seen all the highlights. You and I can break down that catch in 54 against Vic Wertz until the cows come home. The catch that he made against the Reds, you saw it on YouTube out in right center field. Bobby Tolan crashing the wall. Those plays, those are iconic plays with Woody. And again, I didn't really think about it too much until the last few years. He probably, pound for pound, I think you'd agree, you're a good historian, pound for pound, let's leave Ruth out of it. Pound for pound, maybe he is the best player of all time. I think DiMaggio's close because he played center field too. Willie isn't the best hitter. Williams, Joe D, Aaron, Musial. I don't think he's the best hitter. But if you combine the speed, running the bases, defense in the outfield, all those other ingredients that Williams didn't do well, Musial didn't do well. Let's face it. Ruth was in right field. Garrick was a lumbering first baseman. If you put that in the equation, pound for pound, maybe you say he's the best of all time.